7, perfect squares and square roots. This stuff, I know you did a little bit in 6th grade. Some of you may have done a little bit last year with me. It is something that once you understand what it is, it's not too bad. It's just getting that piece of understanding what it is. That takes a little bit. Hopefully you guys are mature enough, a little further along in your math life where you can get this. So the square root of a number, it means, I'm going to write this, then we'll do an example. Well, no, let's do the example first, okay? Square root of 25 equals 5. Equals number 5. Because 5 squared, 5 times 5, equals 25. Yeah. So, square root of a number means what number, or sorry, it's not what number. A number squared equals the number underneath. So, yeah. What squared? The number underneath. Whatever you're going to square, so in this case 5 of our example here, squared, so what squared, 5 squared, equals the number underneath.
What do you mean underneath?
So underneath the square root symbol.
What?
Under the square root symbol underneath the check symbol.
It's called a garage.
That's not, no, it's not division. It's not division.
It looks like
it's different. Notice how it's kind of this, it's got a little kickstand thing there.
No. Oh, I don't know.
Like the check.
Yeah.
Division's got a little curve to it.
It looks like the heart thing.
Yeah. All right. So we have it is called a radical sign. So this symbol is a radical sign.
Wait, is it rad? Oh.
It's because it's radical.
Yeah.
So let's do another example here. The square root of 49. What squared, so what times itself equals 49? 7 does.
What if there isn't?
7. Because 7 squared equals 49. For your notes, yes. For your assignment, no. Unless it asks you. Okay. So there are these things that are called perfect squares. Okay. For example, we'll write our definition in a second, but sometimes it's easier to do the example. So the number 1 is a perfect square because 1 times 1, 1 squared equals 1. The number 4 is a perfect square because 2 squared equals 4. The number 9 is a perfect square because 3 squared equals 9. Sensing a pattern?
What? No. Wait, what?
The number 16.
1, 2, 3, 4?
1 times 1 equals 1. So 1 is a perfect square. 2 times 2 equals 4. So 4 is a perfect square. 3 times 3 is 9. So 9 is a perfect square. 4 squared is 16. So 16 is a perfect square. What's my next one?
25.
25.
Yes.
Because 5 squared. And my next one? 36.
Why is it perfect square?
So these, hold on. These numbers here are your perfect squares.
2, 2, 6.
That should be a 2. There we go. All right. Everything squared. So whole number squared equals a perfect square. So our definition here. Perfect square equals a number you get, in other words, the answer to, you get by squaring, multiplying something by itself, an integer, positive or negative number that with no decimals.
Or fractions.
Okay, no decimals, no fractions. So perfect squares come from numbers with no decimals or that aren't fractions. So there's a cool button on your calculator for this. If you guys want to take out your calculator a second.
Yes.
So let's talk about how that works.
Answer.
Hold on. I'll get you what button it is in a minute. So the question is there a number times itself, an integer times itself, that equals 225.
So do you do 225
So
divided by
on your calculator, find the symbol that looks like the square root symbol. I believe you guys have to hit the second button,
Yeah.
which is the upper left button. And then
x2?
above the x squared is the square root symbol. So you're going to hit second,
It worked.
hit that button. That gives you the symbol. It'll show the symbol on your calculator. I think there's a parentheses too.
Yeah.
And then you're going to type in
2.
225
Just push second. There's none.
and hit equals.
15.
And what do you get?
15. 1.2. I think I did it
So,
wrong.
hold on. What that means is that 15
Can we check it?
squared, so 15 times 15 equals
It does.
225. Does it work?
Yeah.
Adam says he checked it, it works, so yes,
Oh.
225 is a perfect square. So pretty easy when you have the calculator there. So the next one here, same exact question, but we have 222, so 222. So square root of 222 equals, what does it equal?
Do we have to write that all?
What does it equal?
No.
14.8.
14.8. It's not.
14 point what?
'Cause we rounded it to the first
14.899.
66443.
664. Okay, we'll stop there. Right? It's a decimal answer. So it's no, it's not a perfect square.
No. We have to write that stuff every time.
Next thing, and there is a reminder on the bulletin board on the right of the area of a square, the formula for that. The area of a square is area equals S being the length of one side squared. Not 5, that's an S.
Snake. And now it looks more like 5. So it's area equals square 2.
Equals S, where S is the side length.
Isn't it 12?
Because if you have a square,
What?
if you have a square, you have the length of the side, they're all the same. And to find the area, you do one side times another side.
36.
So that's why it's side squared. Okay? So, you have a square here. Its area is 144. The question is, how long is one of its sides?
This is more of a 144 divided by 2.
36.
How do you find the area of a square?
Times one side times the other.
You multiply the two sides together. So the area here equals 144.
What's
So like the little
144 equals S squared. So we've so far this year done opposite of addition, opposite of subtraction, opposite of multiplication, opposite of
Division.
division.
What is that?
Now we're going to do the opposite of something times itself.
12.
What undoes squaring? A number times itself. What undoes it?
1 square.
No.
So there's 4 sides, so divided by 4.
This problem here. We have the number 144. And we have this S squared. I want to undo that square. I want to get rid of that squared. So to do that, I just take a square root of those. That leaves me with just an S over here all by itself. In other words, what number times itself equals 144? At least you did that one. What did you get? 12. So the length of one of these sides is 12. S equals 12. So if you have it, this works only with squares. It doesn't work with rectangles. It doesn't work with triangles. It doesn't work with trapezoids. Only squares, because squares, the sides are all the same length. Okay? So the perimeter. How do you find the perimeter of something?
So you add it.
So,
What do you do to find the perimeter?
so we need to find area, so the perimeter would be the 3 times 3. The 3 to the second power. power.
The area, we're trying to find the area or the perimeter of this shape.
Oh, that one?
Yep.
I don't know.
So here's my shape. Same one as before. We said our area was 144. We said this side's 12. What's the other side across from it? 12. What's the side above it?
You added.
12. What's the side below it? 12. So how do you find the perimeter of a square?
12 times.
Cole?
12 times 4.
12 times 4 because I have 4 sides. Each one's 12 long. 12 times 4 equals
48.
48. That works for squares. If you don't have a square, you got a different shape. If you have a rectangle or something like that, this is our perimeter formula that you'll want is perimeter equals 2 bases, so top and bottom, plus 2 heights. Or not heights. Yeah, heights works. The left and right side. Okay? These 2 plus these 2 gives me my answer. That's our perimeter formula. That will work for any rectangle or any square. Okay? If you want to do times 4 for squares, that's fine too. All right. Example number 5 here. The square root of 7 is between what 2 integers? So integers are those no decimal numbers. So it's going to be between like 1 and 2, between 2 and 3, between 3 and 4. You have to pick something. So when you think about the square root of 7, if we think about our perfect squares, okay, what are our perfect squares? You had 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. Okay. So 7 fits somewhere in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 7 would go somewhere in there. So to get my 1 was 1 squared. To get my 4 was 2 squared. To get my 9 was 3 squared. And so on. So 7 is going to be somewhere between what 2 numbers here? 2 and 3.
Can you use your calculator for that?
So the square root of 7 is between
Can you do it on your calculator?
2 and 3. Okay, so finding the square root of something crazy like this. All right. One way, you could plug this whole thing into your calculator. It gets a little messy. Not too bad because your calculator gives you that parenthesis. So you would do 81 divided by 25 and put your parentheses there. It should give you an answer.
0.12.
Okay.
1.8. No.
Yeah, 1.8.
What'd you get?
1.8.
1.8?
Where?
So did you end your parentheses, Zach?
I got
It's-
1.8.
I didn't even do
Did you
the
put
filling out
parentheses
set.
here?
I didn't put one there and it just gave it.
I
Okay.
didn't even do the
You didn't do the parentheses and it still works? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Mine
yes,
does.
we could do it that way, but there is a way to do it without a calculator. So if there's a problem that says, don't use your calculator on this, I want to show you that way.
I just did the ABC thing with the,
You can do that, yep.
but it didn't give me the same answer.
What did you get?
1, and then like a mixed number is 1 and 4 over 5.
Yeah, so that's the same answer, it's just in fraction form. Okay, so I'm going to show you that one. What this means when you have square root, and notice it's a tall square root, it goes over both things there. This means the square root of 81 divided by the square root of 25. That's what that means. 81 is a perfect square. What number times itself equals 81?
1. Wait.
What number times itself equals 81? This one you guys should know. 9 does.
Oh, yeah. 3 does. And then 5. You do 9 divided by 5.
What number times itself equals 25? 5. So, big square root sign 81 over 25 is the same as square root of 81 divided by square root of 25, which equals 9 over 5, which you guys could
1.8 in decimal.
1 and 4/5. 5 fits in 9, 1 full time with 4 left over. Okay. So, without a calculator, you can do these. Okay, perfect squares only. I'm not going to ask you to find ones that aren't perfect squares.